like the worst proposal, but I love you. You've made up for it since it was the worst proposal. Oh my God.
Wow.
It was.
Proposal.
You already know this. Anyway.
This is my wife, y'all.
Welcome to This Beautiful Struggle.
I'm excited about it.
We finally have gotten to a point where we're just ready to share unfiltered our lives. Infertility is tough. Adoption is tough. But then even talking about like me losing my dad, you losing your mom within a couple of years of each other, our kids losing grandparents, your career and my career, and then making the ultimate decision to move to Nevada and what that looks like, moving away from all of your friends and family and all of those things.
Hopefully people can resonate with our story and just letting people know that they're not alone.
It's not the norm, and infertility is something that people don't ever want to talk about. Our family is such a hot mess, Express. I mean, this is just what it is, right? Like, so we don't have to front anymore.
It's been a long time coming.
Welcome to This Beautiful Struggle. I'm Erin.
And I'm Casey.
And we're so excited that you all are here to join us on this journey. This first episode is just going to be all about getting to know us. So we're excited for that.
Erin is a mother. She is a wife. She's an entrepreneur. She is a loving and kind person.
You're so sweet.
Almost to a fault sometimes. Can get you in trouble sometimes, but you are very selfless and you are always putting others before yourself. So that's one of your very great qualities that you have.
That's really nice of you to say. Who's KC? Okay, so KC is Cottrell. Did I say it right? Cottrell?
Yes.
Okay.
Because she don't pronounce my name right either. That's for a different time.
I would say the same things. I think that you are super selfless. I think that you naturally are someone who cares a lot about other people. You work hard. You're an amazing provider for our family. You are definitely the voice of reason because I am a hot mess. And so without your voice of reason, we'd be, I don't know, somewhere horrible, really. What else? You're handsome.
Well, thank you.
You're fine.
Thank you.
You're sexy.
That's nice to hear.
You're a good dad. Yeah. I mean, I think, yeah, so that's Casey. How did we meet? You tell your story.
Well,
in a nutshell.
Okay.
Then I'm going to tell the truth after you tell your story.
Okay, so we met at work. And you'll get to know us more, but I am a retired police officer. Erin is a former dispatcher. So that's how we met. So long story short.
911 dispatcher. Get that right, because there's a couple of different types of dispatchers. I was a 911 dispatcher for the police.
Okay. Erin was a 911 dispatcher. So my partner and I ended up using force on some subject that we had to arrest. So as part of our use of force report, we had to go to the dispatch center and get a copy of the audio from the radio. So when I walk into the dispatch center, I see a dispatcher who I'm very familiar with. I've known her for a while. And I see Erin, who was you were brand new at the time. She was still in training.
That's right.
And I thought to myself, I was like, oh, she's cute. And I never really gave it any further thought than that.
Well, how come you didn't tell me that day that I was cute?
Well, because that's not what I was there. I was being professional. I didn't want to come off like a creep.
Cool.
So, yeah. So we got the audio, and then we just ended up leaving. And then I never gave Erin another thought until...
What? You've never said that before. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I wasn't even thinking. I didn't even think I would see you again. So there was nothing. I just thought you were cute. It was just this one off chance meeting, and I didn't think I was going to see you
things
again.
You learn when you do a podcast together.
Yeah. So anyway, I didn't think I was going to see you again. So until we went to, I forgot who was leaving. A coworker of mine was leaving the department, and she was going to a different department. So there was a little going away party at this bar or whatever, and I see Erin there, and I'm not going to use names, but there was another officer who was interested in Erin.
That I was not interested
in.
Oops, that's kind of messy.
He was, for lack of a better term, all up in her face. And yeah.
And I was over it.
I don't think Erin was too interested in him like he was interested in her. and she kind of, as she says, she kind of used me
That is correct.
to get away from this other guy who she wasn't feeling him too much. So
I mean,
that,
but he was a friend.
he
And I
was
liked him as a friend. I just didn't like him
he's a nice
romantically.
guy.
He's
I
a
don't
great
take
guy.
nothing
He's
from
a great
him.
guy.
He's a really nice
just did not
person.
like him romantically.
Yeah. So I think that happened. I started talking to Erin when we were at the bar, and I think we exchanged numbers, or I got her number. I think we've talked
We did.
since then.
Okay, you did a good job on that story.
We
That's
got-
true for the most part.
got
He got it for the most part.
That's true for every part.
For the most part.
Every part.
Yeah.
Okay.
He pursued me hard after that and called me every single day. And then eventually
Okay,
everything
well, tell
No,
us-
that you got it. You got it right. I just didn't know that you thought I was cute from the beginning, and you never
I
said
told
anything.
you that.
No, you did
Yes,
not.
I have.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Why would I even try to get your number if I didn't think you were attractive?
You didn't try and get my number at the dispatch center?
We were at work, Erin.
And that is how we met. So let's see. We dated. Now, here's the thing. So when you are in training, you are not allowed to fraternize. So I technically had to keep it under wraps for about, a year? 10 months.
Yeah.
Because training for dispatch was about 10 months, 10 to 11 months. So I had to keep it under wraps that we were dating. Because I could have lost my job, actually. Because it was against policy to date.
And you saying that, and just a second ago, you were talking about, well, how come you didn't tell me you were cute?
But what would that have mattered? You had been a cop already for a while. It was me who was in training. You telling me that I was cute wasn't going to get you in trouble or get me in trouble.
Still get in trouble.
Okay, so anyway.
Fraternization was still, doesn't matter how long you've been there, it's still, there was a policy against it.
Okay. So we dated for this first 10 months that I was in training. And while I was in training, it was intense. So you have to learn the phones, how to take 911 calls. Then you graduate. Once you graduate from that, then you graduate to the radio side. And so it'd be so cute. We would call each other and he would pretend that he was one of the officers out on the street. This would be on our days off. He would pretend that he was out in the patrol car and I would be on the phone and I would have my computer and he would be giving me all of this radio traffic super fast, how it would really be. And I would type. So I actually graduated, thanks to him, really fast.
Yeah, give me my flowers.
I mean, I give you credit. I give credit where credit is due. So he definitely deserves the credit on that for sure.
That's the first time I heard that. Bro.
That's not true.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we dated for about a year. And then our first date, we went to the gun range. That was super fun.
That was her idea, by the way.
It was my idea because I grew up, my father was also a police officer and my mother was also in law enforcement. But back at that time that we were younger, we weren't really allowed to be around guns. But I always, kids have curiosity. So I don't think I ever went to the range or anything like that as a kid. So I think everything that I learned guns, for the most part, has come via you. So we went to the range, then we went to the movies, and what did we see?
No, back up. Tell them about what happened at the range, though, when you were shooting.
I don't remember.
How you basically wanted me to...
Oh, I wanted you to show me how to hold the gun and put
I
your
did show
arm.
you how to hold the gun.
No, but you were this is how you hold it. I wanted you to put your arms around me and hold me and show me how to do the gun.
She wanted me to grope her. Which is basically, that's her nice way of saying she wanted me to grope her.
But you didn't do it.
I was being a gentleman.
And then we went to the movies. And then the movie theaters, you wouldn't even touch me. It was so weird. I'm like, what kind of date? You won't even touch the person you're with. So I remember I had to take my leg.
Date.
I took my
Did you
leg
just,
and I had
want me to
throw
commit a
it over
crime?
his leg for him to even feel comfortable.
She literally wanted me to commit a crime.
And then he didn't even want to put his hand on me. It was weird.
Okay. So then, if I do all this stuff, then you're like, oh my God, this guy is such a creep. He was touching all over me. This is our first date.
Not me.
I don't even know him like that. And he's already grabbing all on me.
Not me.
And that would have been a complete turnoff.
Nope.
See, you can't win for losing.
Nope.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
So anyway, we went to the movies. It was good. We had fun.
What movie did we see?
It was a Leonardo. Oh, I cannot talk.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leonardo.
Leonardo
Yeah,
DiCaprio.
DiCaprio movie. And
What was the name of the movie?
I don't remember. What was it?
I think it was Inception.
Oh, look at you. That's really nice that you remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Then the rest was history. We got married. He proposed. Oh, this is funny. He proposed on December 5th, 2011. Yep,
Yes.
2011. We started dating August 2010. He proposed December 5th, 2011, after we had got in a fight. We were on our way to the outlets to go Christmas shopping, and we got in some sort of fight. We were at his apartment. I don't even remember what the fight was about, but we got in a fight, and then...
It's probably your fault.
Probably, whatever, maybe. We got in a fight. I ended up leaving and saying, forget it, I'm just going to go to the outlets by myself. So then I left your apartment, and I drove to mine, and then you were blowing me up, and I was sending you the voicemail because I was so irritated. And then he comes to my house. How'd you get in?
I had a key.
You did?
Yeah.
I had a roommate at that time. And you said a key?
Yeah.
Oh. I think I was in the shower. I was in the shower, right? I think I was in the shower.
I'm not sure.
Because I was getting ready to go to the outlet so that I could finish my shopping. And I come out of the shower and there's like a card. It's like the worst proposal, but I love you. You've made up for it since. It's the worst proposal. Oh my God.
Wow.
It was. You already know this. Anyway.
This is my wife, y'all.
So there's like this card, and I open and it says Erin on it, and he's like downstairs. So I'm like looking like, how the heck did he get this card in my room? But maybe this card had always been in my room. I don't know. I can't remember my thought process. So anyway, I open the card, and the card is a card for someone who had like just been engaged. And it's like, congratulations. It was so weird. And it was like, congratulations on your engagement or something like that. And then I was so confused. And then he comes up the stairs, and I'm still irritated with him, by the way. So he comes up the stairs, and he's like, gets down on one knee, and we're in a fight. And I'm like, what is this card? And I remember I threw it on the bed, and I'm like, what are you doing? And then you like, oh, will you marry me? And I'm like, ugh, is this how you're proposing? I was so annoyed.
She said yes.
But I said yes.
And we have 2 kids now. So there's that.
So yeah. I will say we got married. Everything was done within a year, which was really nice. So we met. A year later, we were engaged. A year later, we got married. Then we decided, because I was older than you, right? Yeah, I'm a cougar, right? That's what you would always say. 2 years older than you, that makes me a cougar.
Well, don't say older like you're like 13 years older
Well,
than
you
me.
always made me feel like I was a cougar.
No, other people made you feel like you were a cougar.
Well, my mother, yes. My mother would always say.
That wasn't coming from me.
Well, you
Other
would always say,
people.
oh, you like them young.
No, I did not.
Yes, you did. Maybe you forgot.
Okay.
I had a complex about that.
That didn't come from me.
Because I was only going to date older men, like anyone like older than me. And then you come along and I'm like, oh my God.
So when I first met Erin, I actually had braces.
Oh my God, it was horrible.
I had braces.
That was almost a deal breaker, actually. The fact that he had braces.
Look, she was about to have a deal breaker on the man of her dreams because I had braces. Here I am trying to improve my teeth and my smile, and she about to throw me down the drain.
How do you kiss a grown man with braces?
The same way you kiss a grown man without braces.
Yeah, no. I used to
The
have
braces don't prevent you from kissing. How about this? You figured it out.
Well, that's true.
Okay, there you go.
But that's thanks to my sisters and to Precious, actually. Precious was the reason that we dated. Because it was almost a deal breaker. And Precious was like, Erin, what? This could be your husband and you're not going to date him because he has braces? And I'm like, I know, but what if food gets stuck and then I have to kiss him?
Wait, that's ridiculous. It's unrealistic. Yeah, I'm just about to eat a burger and then I'm about to try to kiss you with cheese and meat stuck all in my braces.
Some people are like that.
No, that's gross.
Okay, so anyway, so I was 30 when we got married. And I was like, okay, we have to have kids right away. And you were down for that.
Yeah.
So that's a whole nother episode. So we'll have to talk about that later because it was everything but beautiful. And everything was a struggle. Let's talk about our families a little bit. Okay, so I was born into a law enforcement family. My dad was a cop. So, of course, the first time that my father met my husband, it was like any other future boyfriend or anyone like was like, this is the one, Erin, this is the one. He already saw Casey as his son because they could talk for hours and hours about law enforcement. And Casey was a police officer in the county in which my dad worked and retired from. So that was instant. I was raised by my mother worked in probation, so she was sworn law enforcement as well. I'm the middle child. We'll talk about that later too. That middle child syndrome deserves its own episode. Just saying. You don't
Okay.
understand that.
Middle class, upper middle class. I would say you were upper middle class.
Upper?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you say upper?
Because you had two working parents that were financially compensated for their jobs fairly well, more than the average American.
Yes. We just never, my parents were so frugal that I wouldn't have known that we would have had money to like buy shoes and stuff because my mom still.
Well, that's how rich people stay rich. They don't
Well,
spend
we
their
weren't
money.
rich. We
No, I'm
definitely
just
were
saying
not
in
rich.
general.
But like we still shopped at Payless Shoe Source. All of my church shoes came from Payless or from Mervyn's
Pro Wings. I used to
or
get
from
them.
Costco or from like Famous Footwear.
Yeah.
Like the only shoes that I was allowed to go and get at Foot Locker was when I played basketball. And it was only like my basketball shoes. Everything else was like, you can have cool shoes. So yeah, two sisters. I have two sisters. I'm the middle child. I had two working parents compared to you. What's your story?
So we're both from Oakland, California. I was raised in a single parent house. My father has never been a part of my life. I know him, I know of him, but I don't have any relationship with him.
And it's really sad because you're a junior.
Yes, I am a junior.
So there's somebody else with your name out there that you don't even really know.
Yeah, never
Exact
know.
name that you don't even know.
Yeah.
Because you guys have the same middle name too, right?
No, our middle names are
Oh,
different.
that's weird.
Yeah.
Then
But
is it really considered a junior?
it is if you put it on a birth certificate.
But is that how junior works?
Normally, no, you're supposed to have the exact everything, but we have the exact same first name and our middle names. They both start with the same. They're very similar, but they're not the same.
What is his?
Maurice.
What? That's your name.
That's not my middle name. See, my wife don't even know my middle
Wait,
name.
what did you say his name was?
Maurice.
Oh, Maurice.
Yes.
Like with the Z?
No, it's like I don't even know because he's never been a dad, so I don't know real dad. It's like Morries or something like that.
Oh,
I'm not
that's
sure.
weird. Okay. All right.
Yeah, my middle name is Maurice. There's a difference.
I knew that.
Okay.
But the way you said it made it sound like. Okay, back to your story.
Yeah. Never had a relationship with my dad, single mom. My mom was, for my whole life, I wouldn't say my mom had like a legit career. She didn't. She worked a lot of different jobs she's a security guard at one point. My mom used to work at Walmart.
She did what she had to do.
Yes, she did what she had to do to provide for myself and my older sister. Oh, I have an older sister, by the way. And we were living in poverty. When you have one income and then you're trying to live, it was difficult for us. Things never came easy for us.
It was a struggle.
It was a struggle.
A beautiful struggle.
A beautiful struggle. Thank you. That's a nice plug. Like, I would say probably for the first maybe 10 years of my life, me and my sister, we shared a room. We always
And there's a big age gap. Okay, so see, we need a whole episode on this.
Yeah, my sister is 7 years older than me.
As a girl to share a room with your younger brother when you're a teenager and you have like boobs and stuff and like.
Well, not when she was. This was when we were younger, but like.
Yeah, but when you were born, she was 7. So
Yeah.
So when you're younger, so when you're 4,
So-
she's 11. She's developing.
We
just
probably
can't
stopped
imagine.
sharing a room when she was like maybe 12 or 13 around there. It might have been 12. I'm not sure.
So you were a toddler and she was like a preteen, and you guys were in the same room.
When you broke and you don't have money to get more bedrooms, you got to do what you got to do. So yeah, we were broke. We had no money.
Do you know what's funny with that? Sorry, I know I keep interrupting, but ADD. We grew up probably 15 minutes away from each other
If that,
and lived completely different worlds.
well,
In the same city,
in the same city.
in two different parts of Oakland, California. I lived in Oakland too, although people say, you didn't live in Oakland. I lived in Oakland, but I lived in the hills and you lived in the flats. After dark, I wasn't allowed to go to a friend's house who lived under MacArthur Boulevard.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what part of Oakland you live in, will determines like how safe the city is. But anyway, so yeah, we lived in poverty, didn't have much, and I went to public schools. When I was 18, after I graduated high school, I joined the Army. Then after that, I applied to the police academy. I got hired, started working as a police officer, met Erin, and got married. And now we're here.
We'll definitely have to dive into our stories because I think that is a huge part of who we are. The way that I was raised, the way that you were raised, and kind of like how we come together because it is really like two different worlds, but now kind of meshed into one. Okay, so we get married, right? We decide we're going to have kids. That was rough. I was on birth control. I remember we wanted to get pregnant on our honeymoon. You remember? So we go on our honeymoon. Where did we go? Oh, that's right. We went to Maui on our honeymoon. And then when we came back from Maui, do you remember we came back and then we went to Palm Springs because I remember this being in Palm Springs. And then me saying, this is it. I'm done with birth control. I was on Depo. I was like, okay, I'm completely done. We have to have kids, right away. So we're going to have sex as much as we can because hopefully we'll get pregnant because I'm 30. And what they say, bariatric age, you have to have kids by the time you're 31 or else you're not going to be able to. That was a struggle. And then I think, so when they say that the first year of marriage is the hardest, we definitely have friends who say, no, the first year is fun. No, the first year of marriage, I thought was going to be the end of us. I thought we were going to be done. I thought you were going to walk. Fertility issues, we'll definitely have to get into all that later. But that was like the first 2 years of our marriage that we dealt with infertility.
It was rough.
We decided I've always wanted to adopt. And that's so hard because women naturally are more open to adoption and men not so much. But you were like, oh yeah, I'd be down to adopt. So I remember because my fertility doctor was like, because you're having all these other issues, that's when I was going through workers' comp with work, you should maybe do the foster to adopt first, and then we'll come back and do IVF if we need to do it at that point. De-stress, because that's when I had left OPD. So it was like de-stress, everything, right?
Right.
So we decided to do foster to adopt. Ooh, that was a whole nother beautiful struggle. I mean, we have 2 amazing girls that have come out of it, but that's another future episode, so stay tuned. We have 2 girls now, Kaylin and Savannah. We love them so much. They are a handful.
That's putting it nicely. A handful.
Let's see. Casey has always been ready to move from California because he's lived everywhere. He's lived because he was in the military. He's lived everywhere, right? So like you have always been ready to go. But for me, when your whole entire family lives in California, you don't want to just up and bounce. Although my sister had moved to Texas and she had said, you could do it, Erin, you can do it. I'm like, I don't know. I am such a family person. So we ended up staying. We bought a house, our first house. We built from the ground up. We stayed there. We had kids there. Then we moved to the Bay Area because we lived like in the suburbs, right? We lived in like the Central Valley. That's what it was, kind of. The beginning part of the Central Valley, which was like an hour away from our families. And our families would always say, you live so far. So that would be their reasons on why they wouldn't come visit us. Or,
Which was bogus.
if we hosted something at our house, why they wouldn't come. So we decided that we were going to use our equity and then we were going to move to the Bay Area. So we moved back to the Bay Area. And then that was in 2018, right? Mm-hmm. And then I think at that point is when I told my dad that I was thinking about moving to Vegas because we were talking about it. And he was like, well, why are you not going to go? Is it because of your family? And I'm like, yeah. So meanwhile, you're ready to go. You're like, let's go. Hurry up. Make a decision. And then my dad passed away in 2019 very suddenly. And when he passed away, I just remember hearing his voice of, don't let me or your mom hold you back from doing what's best for you and your family. And so that was like the turning point. Very soon after that, COVID happened. And then I think communication got very tough. And so it was very easy for me to now imagine living away from my family and realizing that FaceTime and all of these things could be a thing. And I think after COVID, not after, it was like 2021. Because when did your mom pass? 2021?
She passed in December of 2021. Yeah.
So it was like right before your mom passed, I think I was like, let's go.
Yeah. Because we moved here in April of 2022. Yeah.
And then
After we've been going back and forth from the Bay Area to here, looking at property and all that stuff.
coming out here every weekend, being outbid out of houses, that was fun. That was a struggle. Everything's been a struggle for us. It's just life, I guess, right? So then, yeah, now we're in Vegas. We love it.
This has definitely been a good move for us.
Yeah.
It's really panned out. I mean, obviously, we moved out here for just a better life where cost of living was a huge thing.
And even though it's expensive, it's still way cheaper.
Yeah, and,
Taxes alone.
in California, you work so hard, but you're like living paycheck to paycheck. Like only in California can you make six figures and still be broke.
We were making good money.
I know. Like it was a couple years I made over 150 and we were still like struggling. Like why? But yeah. So yeah, we just moved out here and
Yeah, I think at our peak, we were making over $200,000 a year between both of us, and we were still broke. And we still couldn't travel, and we still couldn't do all of those things that we love to do. So that was rough.
yeah.
So yeah, definitely moving out here, even though we went through some, you know,
Yeah. We've had our ups and downs out here too.
but
So.
it was a good move for us. So
I think things are looking
up.
up. We're definitely on this positive trend right now. So life is good right now. I can't complain. We really hope you enjoyed this episode. Be more or you connected with anything that we said.
You weren't supposed to do all the talking. I was going to talk too.
There's more to come.
So we're going to talk about a lot of things. We hope that you will be able to identify or find us relatable in some way, but we are really going to dive deep. We're going to talk about all things, as you heard, the way that we were brought up, which was very different from one another. We are going to really dive into our infertility, something that is never really discussed, but is important to discuss. We're going to talk about our adoption journey, why IVF didn't work for us. We're going to talk about what it's like to lose two parents within 2 years of each other. We're going to talk about our move to Vegas. We're going to talk about our careers. And ultimately, we just really hope that through us sharing our stories with you all, that you will be able to find the strength to maybe one day share your stories as well. Because our lives have been everything but perfect. They are definitely full of trials and tribulations and roadblocks. And I often say to people all of the time that when you listen to our full story, I think the things that we've been through are things that can potentially paralyze someone. But we had to continue to move forward. And so we've continued to move forward.
Yes.
And if you're in a situation where you're feeling stuck or paralyzed or stressed, or hopefully after listening to us, you won't be.
Absolutely.
So again, thanks for listening. We hope you'll be back soon.
See you guys later.
There's a lot more of this. This is just us.